Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video, and today we're gonna kind of do a follow-up to my Amazonas video. So my last Amazonas video was I used them in the festival that they worked well in, and now we currently, by the time you're watching this, I think the festival will be gone or pretty close to gone, but we currently have a Synchro Link festival, and probably my favorite Synchro deck that I currently run is Gusto. Now I know Gusto isn't top tier meta or anything like that. It's just a deck I've really liked. Anytime you get into these festivals, you'll kind of see interesting mixes of stuff. Like it's, a lot of the main meta stuff is kind of cut out. So decks like Gusto can maybe survive a little bit more than they normally could. So I had a lot of fun with this. I think Gusto's just a favorite deck of mine. I think it's why I like Mikenko so much, because they operate very similarly in terms of like, I want to beat into you and do damage. But this Gusto deck is kind of built on two premises. So I want to start off by showing the list I used, and then we'll hop in and show some of the replays, right? But this does the main Gusto stuff of get outs, freeze, attack in, deal damage, but it also has kind of a side Wind Witch package, which allows me to go into some powerful synchro plays like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And then I have a very easy Baron DeFleur play. Like I can get him out a ton. So you'll see Baron come out all the time, right? So I'm running 3 Eagles. And by the way, I'm not going to explain how the deck works and everything like that. I have a whole separate video on that if you want to watch that. I'll try to link it at the end. If this is your first time seeing Gustos, you don't know how they work and you want the deck explained, I'll link that video at the end. But this is pretty much my standard Gusto build of my like IRL deck as well. There's only a couple changes because of the festival that I made. So for Gustos, we got 3 Eagle. We've got 3 Griffin. Griffin's really good because you want him to get discarded to summon stuff out. We got 3 Goldo. We got 3 Pilika. Pilika at 3 is a must. Pilika's busted. And then I just got 1 Winda, just another named Gusto that can float sometimes, right? And then I have the basic Wind Witch package. I just run 2 Ice Spell because you want to open her to start the Wind Witch thing. So by running 2, just increases my chances of getting her. And then we run 1 Snowbell. The rest of the Wind Witches are one-ofs. A Freeze Bell, and then 1 Glass Spell, right? Because the Wind Witch combo, you don't want to run more than 1 because they're really cloggy if you like draw too many of the same ones. And it's really like a combo you're going to do once. Like you're going to do it once and then it's done. There's not a lot of scenarios where you're going to have the opportunity to do it twice. So yeah, you just play for that like opening turn, get it out very fast and just get it rolling. Because literally, a turn 1 Ice Spell is basically Crystal Wing. And then depending on your hand, it can be a turn 1 Crystal Wing and Baron DeFleur, which is like the ideal start you would get, because then you've got 2 really nice negate monsters on board. And that's really like the best start you can get with this deck is opening with that, right? We got 3 Ash Blossom just for the negates. Did I miss anything else up top? I didn't. Oh, I do run 1 Cam. I guess that's another Gusto. I like 1 Cam just for the draw ability. And then for non-Gustos, we are running Tempest, Dragon Ruler Storms, and we're running 3 Harpy's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire Blast. I think this card is insanely busted in any type of deck that runs Wind because it's such an easy summon. It's literally, you control a level 6 or lower Wind monster. Like there's a part here that has to do with Harpy, but most of the card's effect doesn't matter for that. It's just control a level 6 or lower Wind. It's a free special summon level 7 body. And what combos really nice in this deck is between Vidir. Oh, I forgot to mention Vidir is a major 3 of. I didn't mention that, but Vidir's a 3 of. And then we've got Goldo. These are 2 level 3 tuners. So it's literally, you get Vidir or Goldo and you've got Harpy's Pet Dragon. It's an instant Baron DeFleur. So an example opening hand is you open with Ice Spell. The whole Wind Witch combo is all on special summons. You finish that combo out and you're on a Crystal Wing. Then you use your normal summon on either Goldo or Vidir, and you drop this guy down, and you've got Baron. So it's not the most like consistent thing ever, but it's something the deck can do, and it can very easily just sometimes, especially in a format like this, just dropping a Baron down is enough, right? Like sometimes that's all you got to do. This guy is really nice Tempest because I will use Tempest to discard a Wind from my hand, and then I can search out the Pet Dragon, and then Pet Dragon's an easy special summon to go into it. This guy combo is really nice with Griffin because you can discard Griffin. Griffin's going to get a summon. Griffin summon could be a level 3 tuner, right? And then Harpies will be in hand, and that can come out and turn into Baron. And then obviously you can use Tempest for the other methods to just summon itself out to get another body on board. So I think Tempest is really good here. I'm running 2 Win, the Wind Channelers. They're just really nice because I can discard her with Griffin or just discard her in something. Like Channeler is one of the most common ways. Like if I open with Channeler and I don't like have like a specified play in hand, I usually will just discard whatever, go into this, and get into Crystal Wing, right? So there's definitely some plays that you can do. We run 1 Contact with Gusto because it is decent removal you can use. We've got 3 Tailwind, very good busted equip card. We got 2 Emergency Teleport, 3 Imperm. So very simple lineup there. The extra deck, I run 1 Guldos. Guldos isn't great, but I like having a level 5 target, because sometimes it ends up that I'm on like a level 5 synchro play and I can use it to build up to a 6 or a 7 or an 8, and I might need that because sometimes you can end up in a situation where you got multiple tuners out and you got kind of lower levels. So I might have to synchro into a 5 and then like combo this with like a level 1 tuner or something to get into a 6. So I just like having the level 5 target. Sprees is like the god of the deck, so I got 2 of those. Pilika, Lapland Pilika is definitely a one of. It can be very good in very specific situations and you want it for that situation, but otherwise you don't use it a ton. Clear Wing's a nice level 7 option. Winter Bell's a nice option for the direct damage. Wind Pegasus Ad Ignister. This one isn't on my previous list. This one went under the radar for me, but this is a great card for this deck because the very common play when you're doing the Wind Witch setup is you're going into a level 7 Synchro and then comboing that with Snowbell to go into the level 8 Crystal Wing with the Snowbell negate or the like can't be destroyed effect. So this is usually the first monster I'll go into on that level 7 play because you want this in the graveyard because then this has an interrupt effect in the graveyard where if one of my things get destroyed by a card effect, then I can use this effect to get rid of one of their things on the field. So it's nice because it has a graveyard quick effect that I can use. So I think that is really nice there. And it's generic wind, which is really, really nice. There's Crystal Wing. I run 2 of those because I have definitely gone into 2 of those in a fight before. Diamond Bell is a little situational, but it is nice. I have one with the direct damage. I think it's going to be on one of my replays. 3 Baron because you just want to make sure you get it. I think realistically I could go to 2. I don't know that I've ever even summoned 3 Baron before. I've got this just as a level 11 option. There is also a level 9 option you can run that I've done before. So those can be in just to have other targets. And then we just have the Wind Link in case I just need to link into something. If I'm going against wind, it's nice to have. The one thing that you won't see in here that's normally in my deck is Totem Bird. But XCs were not allowed in this festival, right? So that's the deck. Let's go into the replays. And I've got 6 replays to show you. I just found 6 that I thought were pretty nice, interesting matches. So we'll go ahead and hop in. And we are going to go ahead and start with the oldest replay. 1, 2, 3. Yep, we got 6 here. Let's go and start down here. So this is ranging from February 19th until basically yesterday, I think. So let's hop in. I think part of the reason I like Gusto, and it's the same reason I like Mikenko, it's not just the direct damage stuff, but the decks are fairly simple to operate. They're not super heavy combo based. My brain just hurts. Like with like these really good modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks, it just makes my brain hurt. It's too many combos. The turns are too long. This is a very common thing. By the way, I saw a lot of Sword Soul in the festival. I know Sword Soul probably was one of the more meta decks for this, but also I didn't look at the loners, so maybe Sword Soul was a loner, and that's why a lot of people ran it. But especially when I was going for like my last victory or two, it was literally all Sword Soul. So there we go. We go for an in-perm play. You know, they're able to play around it, I think, but we did prevent, I think that prevented the token. So that actually ended up being pretty harmless. And it obviously depends on the player's skill level, but we had Imperm and Ash. Like, this was an interesting turn, but there we could use that, and then we get Ash back. So we're trying to use the Channeler to try to go into a play. They Ashed it, so we're left with not too much here, but at least I've got the Equip, right? So they're going to use their effect. They're going to get Winda. And that just negated the effect. That was kind of like pointless of them to do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the Equip there. They just destroy everything. But there's like no field. So I'm like, all right, they got 3 cards. I got 1, but I can Ash the first thing they do. But they've got card advantage. So we're pretty much at a neutral right now. So I'm just going to Ash that on Tribute. Oh, yeah, because that one they're trying to go into an Albaz or whatever. That was Ecclesia, yeah. So then they're going to Reborn something. Okay, so they're going to get their big thing out. So literally I'm top decking at this point, right? But in the graveyard, I do have the Equip and I do have Tempest. So I've got a couple of cards I can play out of the graveyard. So even though this like looks over for me, there are still some plays. Oh, and we got Pilica, which is a godly draw. So they're going to go ahead, do their thing. I believe that negates Pilica, right? Yep, that negated Pilica. So I used Tempest to get Tempest out. I got 2 bodies out. I'm like, I'll just attack that. But yeah, they negated Pilica. So I'm like, all right. I'll just be silly and go into a little link play here. So this is one where it's just kind of like a slow struggle. I'm really back against the wall here. Realistically, I don't know what their hand is, but they probably should have won this. I don't know how they didn't win this, to be honest. So here's the other thing. They did a couple of really bad plays, which tells me they don't understand what's going on. They keep using their Synchro's effect to negate my monsters, but they're all graveyard effects. So my effects are still going off. So the reason why I brought out the Link monster is because then I could go into a search. And so they played into my hands, and we search for Griffin because I know I've got the Equip in the graveyard. So then I can discard Griffin, get a body on board, and get another Equip to my hand, or contact with Gusto. And then we drew in another tuner. So now we're going to use the effect. We basically burned through those negates. Nope, they got another Ash. So we still couldn't burn. Like, they literally just had all negates. And that's why I think they were slow to beat me down. They just drew all Ashes and stuff to negate. But we still got the Griffin play off of it, which gets me Vidir, which is going to dump. So I still got 2 level 6. Now we can go into Tempest. And guess what? We have a level 3 tuner in Tempest. We're all of a sudden getting into a Baron. So, like, my back is against the wall. I've got, like, no plays. But thankfully, Tempest and the Equip in the graveyard definitely helped me out. Baron's going to get a kill there. We're going to get a couple of attacks in. Now, all of a sudden, we're on the offensive. We got a 2-to-1 advantage here. So now we see what they have. I know Baron's got a negate waiting for whatever they... Yeah, and then they just give up. So we pulled that one out, you know, and that was one I felt like I was not supposed to win. So it could have been a combination of they just drew bad because they had too many Ash and too many negates, or they may have misplayed, but I don't know what their hand was, right? So let's go into this next replay here. But yeah, that was a pretty surprising win. I wasn't expecting to take that one, but there was resiliency there with having good... Like, if your deck has good graveyard effects, you can pull out of some situations. I've seen it with my Mikenko deck, man. They'll even play, like, Eradicator on me, and I can push through it. All right, so here we go. We're going into the Wind Witch play. So we discard Win, we get this, and then literally this is a 1-card Crystal Wing. So she summons the Glass Spell. Glass Spell is going to add to hand. We're going to do 500 direct damage. We go into Snowbell. That's a free special summon. And then this is what we do is we go into a 7. And then this is where we get Wind Pegasus add Ignister. Yep. And then we synchro into the 8-star. So now what we've got is we've got a Crystal Wing who has a quick effect monster negate. Summoned with Snowbell, cannot be destroyed by card effects. And we have Wind Pegasus to counter if they do something to destroy my cards. Then we got Vidir who's going to summon and send. We're going to bring out this. And here's the magic thing we got here. We're actually going to equip Vidir to get another body out. Pilica's going to summon another. Like, this is a god turn. Then we go into Baron. So now this is like the best start you can get with this deck because we got Baron, Crystal Wing. We use Harpy to send another Wing Beaks to the graveyard, which is a really nice thing. And then we still get a Spreeze on top of that. And then Spreeze is going to add the Equip back. Or no, we add Griffin back because then we can do the Equip's effect and discard the Griffin. Yeah, we do that. Discard the Griffin. We're going to get another summon and the Equip to put on Spreeze to protect Spreeze. We're going to get another body out, equip Spreeze. And it's like, man, this field right here, like, this is like the peak of what this Gusto deck does. Because now we got a Baron negate. We got a Crystal Wing negate. We got the Wind Pegasus effect in the graveyard. We've got Spreeze. Spreeze is protected. Crystal Wing is protected. Like, this is nice. So we used up a negate right away. They actually play through this, though. I think they actually get through this. And we have to come back a little bit. Like, it's looking like I got this, but I remember this wasn't as easy as I thought. So I decided to pop their trap, which was an imperm. We summon, or maybe I did just crush them here. I think I was, yeah, okay, never mind. We just beat them down. Yeah, there's another one though where I think I had a similar, like, very good start, but they were actually able to counter me. That one was just a straight up beatdown, but That's about as dominant as you're going to see this deck right there. That was a really clean, nice opening. We take those for sure. I had to save that replay to show you how good it can be. There's definitely a lot of not good ones on some of these. I would say my first 4 replays were fairly close together. Like, I had a really nice run. I would say when it was getting to the point where I only needed like 1 or 2 more wins, I hit a really bad stretch of like bad draws, constant sword soul, not getting what I needed. I think I had like a 4-game losing streak before I got like my last replay in. So it's all right. It is what it is, all right? Gusto isn't perfect. It's definitely a fun deck. All right, so once again, Ash is the theme. Ash is everywhere. So they ashed my... Because literally I was going to go Crystal Wing. They ashed it. So this was going to be a really nice start too. But so then we just set. And, you know, my Gustos, they float when they're destroyed. So that's what we're going to do. Just set it and let it be and see what they do. Guldo is usually the preferred thing. So that actually did nothing. They had no monsters. So they're going to let me play. I got Wind Channeler into Griffin, which is great. They get called by... The nice thing is when I do Wind Channeler and Griffin, they can only negate one of them. So I still at least get the summon off of Griffin. They're going to negate Wind. So I don't get the search, but I'm still going to get the summon. So I'm okay with that. But then they Ash. So they actually stop both. Like, okay, I guess I'm burning through all of the negates. But look, I still have a pretty hefty hand. It's not great, but I can summon that. I can special summon Snowbell. And I can sneak, you know... I decide to attack here. But I could sneak a Synchro play off, but I decide not to. Oh, I know why I didn't Synchro there. Because Sprees needs a non-tuner Gusto, and I don't have a generic level 6. So in that instance, I wish I had a generic level 6, because then I could have gone with Snowbell into a 7. Now, that was a poor play on their part. They should have attacked the Wind Witch. They attacked the Floating Gusto, which actually just helps me out. And this was really nice, because then we got into the equip, which is then going to summon Pilica, which is then going to summon the tuner. And then now I am off to the races. We are going Synchro happy here. Yep, Sprees. Go ahead and add something to my hand. We're going to take Griffin because I know I'm going to have that equip in the graveyard eventually. And I'm just going to decide to attack in. The equip goes there. We're going to get some floating off of that. We're just going to keep doing damage to them. We're actually doing the Gusto thing of dealing the damage to them. Bringing out the little bodies. And this one I messed up. Like, if instead of Cam, I could have brought out something smaller and had the win there. But that's okay. That is okay. Because now I'm just going to extend and just put more bodies out. I've got this here to destroy contact with Gusto to pop a card, shuffle 2 things in. You guys, I really want Gusto to get more support. I would love to see them brought up to current meta. Because I think the deck has potential, right? I mean... The ability to put out a Baron and a Crystal Wing is already a great start. It would be nice if they could do it without relying on the Wind Witch package, but I think the Wind Witch package is still solid, right? So there you go. We ended up getting through. So I ended up going into the 8-star Wind Witch, and that was an instance of me. It was my fault. I made the mistake. I could have killed them on battle there. But as a backup, I went into my Synchro, and then that dealt direct damage, which finished it off. So I was able to save it, and I didn't give them a chance to come back and counter. Let's go ahead and look at my 4th replay and see what happens in this one. See what happens in this doozy of a fight. All right, this is another great starting hand, right? Wait, I got to make sure this isn't the one we just watched. No, okay, no, it's not. What are we going against here? Oh, they're doing was that Danger? No. Yeah, it was Danger. Okay. Yeah, so they're doing Danger stuff. Oh, that's right. This was the Infernity deck. I'm like, I haven't played against these in like forever. So if you're unfamiliar with Infernity, they want to keep their hand empty, and they get really good effects when their hand is empty. And the deck operates really well on an empty hand. It's crazy. This I did find to be a tough fight. Like this was not a pushover. This was a persistent, longer fight here. So we're going to let them do... I'm actually going to speed up their turn because they actually do a lot. Like the Infernity, yeah, they actually go a little bit crazy. So we're just going to speed up their turns because they do a lot. So look at it. They're operating all of this with no hand. And they can just keep searching. They can keep doing stuff from the graveyard. Obviously, like, banishing from the graveyard kills the deck. But yeah, then they go into Yugioh. Like, look at all this crap they're doing. Zealanthus? Yeah, this is one where this was a really grindy fight. Look at all this they're doing turn 1. This, by the way, is part of the reason I kind of hate Yu-Gi-Oh right now. You go to a tournament and you just sit there and watch your opponent for 15 minutes and then you just lose. Or you have the counter and then you combo for 15 minutes and you win. Like, they got to do something to fix Yu-Gi-Oh, man. It's way too combo heavy. It's way too combo driven and the turns just take too long. They got to do something to simplify this game back down. And maybe that's what Rush Duel is supposed to be. They're trying to simplify it, but like, I think they just need some core rule changes to make so you can't summon 50 million times. So this is a dumb play by them. Well, not necessarily, I guess. So they imperm Guldo, which is bad, but they are doing it to hit the equip. So unfortunately, I played it in the wrong zone, so I couldn't use the equip. So I just suicide in, just so I can get a summon off and get the equip in the graveyard, and then I can do the equip on Griffin to get another body out. So I decided to go that route. Yep, and then we're going to summon off of that. And then off of Vidir, we can do a pitch and another summon. And then Pilika can go off and summon. So we actually came out of that pretty good, and now we're going into some synchro plays. And then we go into sprees. The only time you go into Lapland Pilika is if you have a level 3 Gusto in hand, because then you can go Lapland Pilika into sprees. But otherwise, I just go into that. So they got Void Ogre. So they've got the negate on the spell and trap there. So, I mean, they've got a beefy board, right? They've got Zeolantis. They've got Void Ogre. Like, this is not an easy board to deal with. So then they get rid of my spree. So I'm glad my little Gustos are in defense position, because they would be defenseless in attack mode. So, yep, they're going to go big here. So my hope is, yeah, and then they do Zeolantis to get rid of my Gustos. But I believe they just get to come right back out, so it wasn't a big deal. But they do it because then they get to use a bunch of effects off of their monsters, right? So he's basically just resetting the field, but then all of his stuff that gets stuff on summon. And then mine, I think, had to come out in attack mode, because otherwise I wouldn't have done that. So that was a good play by them. Zeolantis, very annoying. So they're going to go through, and then they actually get rid of my monster, and they go into Underworld Goddess. So sure. I'm very used to seeing that with my Mikenko. She's one of the best counters to Mikenko if you're struggling against that deck, by the way. She's a very good counter to Mikenkos. And then Danger Nessie. I mean, this is another fight, like the first one we saw, where it's like, how do I win this fight? Like, this fight felt like I was literally back against the wall the whole time here. Like, they were in control. I don't know if it was almost a mistake on their part that they didn't beat me, but we somehow pulled this one out. So we go Griffin off of the equip card into Pilika. They're going to go ahead and negate, because I am trying to summon from the graveyard. That is something Underworld Goddess can negate, so we let them have it. It's fine. Void Ogre has the spell and trap negate, so we let them have that. I mean, that's all I can do, right? Is I just have to push through the negates. Like, what else do I do? Then I suicide in just to get a different body out. And then I just go into a big synchro play. So I synchro all of them together. And then we go into sprees. So it's getting sprees the hard way. And then we're going to add the equip back to give spree some protection. And then this time Void Ogre can't negate it. And now I can actually activate it and get the level 1. And now they don't want to attack into me. So we, decide to, it's balls in your court. How are you going to handle this? And see this, I don't know. I feel like they almost get too cute with stuff where they're actually like linking away their really good stuff. But I guess maybe that was the only way they could get rid of sprees. Unicorn maybe was their only out to it. So that's, I guess, what they had to do. So that was a benefit to us because they lost their amazing board. They went from having Void Ogre and Zeolantis to now just a Unicorn. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I can come back now. I'm only at 1200. They're still at full. But, all of a sudden, I have card advantage. Like, I've got more cards than them. They lost, like, just a Unicorn in a back row, and then I get into a Baron. All of a sudden, it has turned into my favor. And I destroy their trap. I do that. I got a Griffin. I mean, dude, these Griffin and Tailwind plays are insane. Until I researched a little bit, I thought Griffin was useless. I didn't truly understand how good Tailwind was until I used it with Griffin. Like, if you're a Gusto player and you're not doing 3 Griffin, like, you gotta get on board with the triple Griffin, triple Tailwind, playing Wind the Wind Charmer, like these really good effects, Tempest, that allow you to discard Griffin. You've seen in so many of these comebacks, it's me digging the equip out, discarding a Griffin, or doing something with Griffin. Maybe part of it gets negated, but it helps me push through and gain card advantage. And all of a sudden, here we are, Baron, sprees, they've got nothing. We attack through, and we got games. So that was a really interesting win. And once again, I don't know if they misplayed You know, if you're paying more attention to what they're doing, if they misplayed, or if I legitimately like grinded that thing out and got it. I mean, the pressure of sprees was maybe too much because, I don't know. I feel like they could have sat on their monsters, but I don't know. Like I said, if they had no way to stop me, I guess they had to do that to get rid of sprees, I guess, right? Here we go. Last 2 replays. Let's go for it. Let's get it done. So now these ones were, I wouldn't be surprised if these last 2 are both sword soul. I literally, like, my last 10 matches were all sword soul. I was actually getting so sick of it. We'll see. We'll see what we're going up against here. So a double imperm draw, like, this is not a great draw, but getting Tailwind with a Gusto is always a W. But of course, Ash, like, how often, like, Ash is just constant, like, literally every single time. So this is another one, and this is why Gusto isn't meta. You've seen some of these fights where it's like, I'm just kind of dead in the water. Like, this is gross. Like, they've got me beat. It just depends on what they get, right? So yeah, sure enough, we've got Sword Soul, which, like I said, we were going to see this. We're going to speed up their turn because they're going to do Sword Soul stuff. But we've got 2 imperms that they got to play through, right? So they get around the first one. They go into stuff, whatever. They're going to do that. I'm going to imperm it. Sure. So it's like 2 imperms. They're going to battle, which, I don't know, I think was kind of a mistake on their part because it kind of gets me rolling when they attack mine. You know, when I play at locals, like, they know, like, how Gustos work because I've played it so much in the past. So, like, people that are pretty experienced against Gustos, they usually, like, if they can't beat you, they usually don't attack your little guys because they know it, like, helps you out. So, once again, another negate. We kind of got a mini play here. But yeah, I suicided in just to get another body so I could get into a proper synchro play. We go into Wind Witch so I can do that. And then they effect Valor. The idea with going into Wind Witch there was that I needed to destroy their monster. And when I deal damage to them, I get to pop a card on the field. And so that Wind Witch was going to deal direct damage and then pop their Synchro. But they negated it with effect Valor. So that kind of ruined that, right? So now they're going to go and do a big play. I brought out Tempest just to have another body on board. So sure, they're going to bring out a Yang Zing. I think this is one that ended up being pretty grindy too. This is one I really didn't think I was going to win. Oh, but they, okay. I got to pause it. They made a mistake there. Oh, I'm trying to remember what happened. So they did in effect, I'm trying to remember if I don't remember, but they really messed up. Cause look, they lost their field basically, to my Wind Witch. I think I had something negated out there. I don't remember if my Wind Witch was... Oh, yeah. So what it was my level 8 Wind Witch was summoned with Snowbell. And I think they sacrificed their monster to destroy it. And then nothing happened because it had been summoned with Snowbell. And this is people not paying attention or not knowing what Snowbell does. So that helped... Like, that was definitely a mistake on their part. They probably should have had this one. But that was a big mistake because I think they had to tribute a monster or something to pop my card, and they tried popping the card that couldn't be destroyed by card effects. We actually go into our level 11 play. Very rare, but we got it. The Punk Dragon there, level 11. So yeah, now we've got a body and they got 1 card. So because of their mistake, we were able to kind of turn this around a little bit. They're going to go into Monk. Try to do something, but they get to the point where they start to just run out of steam. They can't just keep putting a ton of bodies on board. They're doing pretty good right now. They're doing a little bit. They're getting their tokens. They're getting into some plays here. So they still got a little bit going, but just 2 bodies. That's fine. I mean, they had nothing to attack over my guy. So we just keep going here. The equip is pretty dead, but we can bring out Tempest again. Get 2 bodies out and just beat them down with a couple. Like, this is old school Yu-Gi-Oh here. I just have bigger attack than you and I beat you down. Like, that's all this is. And then somehow we have been able to work our way to full card advantage. But off of 1 card, they are still building up a play. That's why Sword Soul's good, right? But in the end, it just ended up being a couple of bodies they didn't do anything with. Realistically, I don't know why they didn't link off into something else. I don't know the deck well enough. Maybe they didn't have a link play there. But I feel like they probably could have linked off into... Oh, no! They had a play there because they wanted me to attack. So that was a mistake on my part because I didn't understand what that effect was. So that was me not reading. So now I'm in trouble. Because, yeah, when I first saw that, I'm like, what are they doing? But it's like they wanted me to attack it. And I just played right into their hands there. So it still got a little bit dicey. It looked like I was going to take it. Now we're really close. It's 18 to 15. I mean, we got a really tight fight here. I just set an Ash, and luckily the Ash is able to survive out. And guess what? I have Ash and Tempest. That equals a Baron, right? And I got Harpy, but I can't summon Harpy right now. But we get Tempest off. And now we're able to sneak into a Baron off of Ash of all things. And then they give up when they see Baron. So that actually, I mean, we both made mistakes. But that was a really grindy one. And I was actually surprised I won that one. Here comes our final replay, and then we'll wrap up the video there. But I believe this was the final one to get like the main reward before you start just getting legacy tickets. I don't really play too far past unless I'm just like really having fun with the deck, which I was. But I was ready to go back to my Mikankos in the main league after this, so that's what I did. All right, so I'm going to open up here. We're just going to try to open up with the simple. This is the very basic Baron play, right? Didn't really have any crazy Wind Witch combos, no Pilicas. So this is the most basic start. You have a level 3 tuner with the Harpy Dragon. And then I try to do, this is a great, I don't mind them negating this. Harpy Dragon, when they're sent to the graveyard, they send a Winged Beast from my deck to graveyard, which is decent. Like, I can definitely utilize that, but them negating that, I just didn't care. So sure, you can Ash that all day. They're going to Dragon Ravine. I actually am just going to decide. So I could have negated it with Ash, but I wanted it off the field. So I actually destroyed it with Baron. So I thought that was worth the Baron negate. And then they use the Remus to search for it, and then I asked that. So I double negated their Ravine. I'm like saying, you do not get Dragon Ravine. I know how good Dragon Ravine is. I've played Dragunity, and then I got to negate there. Like, they had to be so mad. I just had an answer to everything here. So I had Baron, and I literally answered everything. And then... and then they scoop because I literally had three negates, and they were just fed up. So that was my kind of quick kill at the end. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Gusto. Let me know if you have any Gusto tips that maybe I'm not utilizing. I am a very, very long time Gusto player, so I'm always looking. Like, I feel like I know the deck really well. But if you know any tips or strats that I haven't used that you think are good, now obviously I know Kaijus and like Lava Golem, like that stuff's good, right? For me, that's like side deck stuff right now. In Master Duel, you can't use side deck. So for Master Duel, I'm just running it, but sometimes I will run Kaiju. So I do know those type of strats are very good. But as you've seen with a lot of these victories, most of them actually came more on like Baron Crystal Wings type stuff, like big synchros. But yeah, it's kind of a nice wombo combo where I'm not 100% relying on sprees, right? So let me know what you guys all think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.